Have you ever been broken to the point where you felt invisible? When the people you once gave your everything to suddenly acted as if you never existed? That's when life whispers to you, don't chase them. Grow until they wish they never left. There comes a moment in everyone's life when you are forced to choose between revenge and rebirth. When the pain of being abandoned could either crush you or carve you into something unrecognizably powerful, in those moments, most people lose themselves trying to prove their worth to those who walked away. But the truth is, you don't need to prove anything to anyone. Your only mission is to rise, to grow, and to become the version of yourself that even your past self would stand in awe of. Growth is the most elegant form of revenge because it turns pain into purpose and heartbreak into higher strength. When you stop focusing on who left and start focusing on who you are becoming, life shifts. You stop begging for attention and start building your empire. You stop asking for validation and start discovering your value. The same people who once doubted your light will one day squint trying to see you shine. That's not pride, it's progress. It's the moment life gives you back the power that you had once handed over too easily. Turn pain into power. Pain has a strange way of introducing us to ourselves. When life breaks you, it doesn't destroy you, it redefines you. The tears that once fell in silence become the foundation of your resilience. Every heartbreak, every disappointment, every betrayal, they're not there to end your story, they're there to awaken it. Pain arrives not as a punishment, but as a whisper from destiny saying, there's more inside you than you're showing. And in that moment, you start turning pain into power, piece by piece, breath by breath. There are nights when you'll question if you'll ever feel whole again, but those nights are sacred. They're the quiet classrooms where strength begins to take shape. Pain is a sculptor. It chisels away everything fake and fragile until only truth remains. It doesn't matter who left or who hurt you. What matters is what you decide to do with the hurt. You can let it break you, or you can let it build you. You can drown in the memory, or you can rise from it like a phoenix refusing to burn. When you start transforming your pain, you'll see it turn into fuel. That same heartbreak that made you cry becomes the reason you rise early in the morning. The same rejection that crushed your spirit becomes the fire that drives your dreams. Pain is not your enemy. Stagnation is. You must keep moving forward, not to forget, but to forgive yourself for ever believing you were less because someone couldn't see your value. Healing doesn't come all at once, it comes in waves. Some days you'll feel strong, other days you'll fall apart. But that's how transformation works. Every scar you carry becomes a silent reminder that you survived what was meant to destroy you. The world will look at your smile and never know the storms you walked through just to wear it. That's the quiet beauty of pain. It builds warriors in silence. When you embrace pain instead of escaping it, it becomes your greatest teacher. It teaches you what love truly means, what peace truly costs, and what you truly deserve. You stop asking, why me? And start saying, thank you for showing me what I'm capable of. Pain doesn't define you, it refines you. And someday, you'll look back at the moment that broke you and realize it was the moment you started becoming unstoppable. The truth is, pain will visit everyone, but it doesn't stay where growth lives. When you turn pain into power, you become a living example that heartbreak doesn't end you, it evolves you. You stop trying to heal for others, and you begin to heal for yourself. That's when strength replaces sorrow. And that's when your story starts to inspire others to rise from their own ashes. Build in silence, let results speak. There's a certain kind of magic in moving silently. When you no longer announce your plans, when you no longer seek validation, when you no longer share your pain with those who wouldn't understand, it's then that you start discovering your real strength. The world becomes quieter, but your focus becomes louder. You start realizing that true power doesn't need attention, it needs intention. The loudest storms often happen in silence, and that's where your transformation begins. When you build in silence, you protect your dreams from noise. Not everyone deserves to know your journey, Because not everyone is meant to understand your vision. Some people watch not to support, but to doubt. That's why silence becomes your shield. It guards your growth from unnecessary opinions. You stop telling people what you're going to do, and you start showing them what you've done. That is when silence becomes your strategy and success becomes your voice. Every time you stay quiet while the world underestimates you are building strength. Every late night you spend working when no one's watching, every prayer whispered when no one listens, every small step taken in faith, they're all adding up to something magnificent. And one day, your results will speak so loudly that you won't need to explain your silence anymore. The same people who doubted your stillness will be silenced by your success. There is peace in privacy. The more you grow, the more you'll crave solitude. You'll begin to understand that energy is currency, and not everyone can afford yours. So you'll spend it wisely on purpose, on dreams, on healing. The world may not clap for your small victories, but heaven does. Every act of discipline in silence echoes into destiny. You're not just working for validation, you're working for transformation. When you master silence, you become unshakable. You stop reacting to everything that tries to disturb your peace. You learn to let your calmness confuse chaos. That is true strength, not shouting your power, but standing in it without words. Silence is not weakness, it's wisdom wearing peace as its armor. And when the day comes that your success finally surfaces, you'll smile, not because they regret leaving, but because you stayed loyal to your growth. You'll realize that your silence wasn't emptiness, it was a sacred space where greatness was being born. Redefine your worth. There will be times when people will make you feel like you're not enough. Times when their silence, their indifference, or their departure will make you question your value, but your worth does not decrease because someone failed to recognize it. You are not a reflection of their blindness. You are a reflection of your own light. The problem was never that you weren't enough. It's that you tried to give everything to someone who couldn't see your worth. Redefining your worth begins when you stop seeking approval. It's when you stop asking, "What did I do wrong?" and start saying, "I deserve better." It's the moment you realize that not everyone is meant to value you, and that's okay. You were not made to convince people of your brilliance. You were made to shine regardless of who's watching. When you know your worth, rejection stops feeling like loss and starts feeling like redirection. There is power in walking away from what no longer values you. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. The moment you choose yourself, you stop begging for closure. You stop over-explaining your pain. You stop watering relationships that no longer want to grow. You finally understand that you can't force someone to see your light if they're committed to living in darkness. Redefining your worth means choosing peace over approval, dignity over attention, and growth over guilt. You start creating boundaries that protect your energy instead of apologizing for it. You stop giving chances to people who've shown you they don't deserve them. And with every boundary you build, you start building yourself again, stronger, wiser, and more grounded than ever before. The most powerful moment in your healing journey is when you no longer crave validation, when your happiness no longer depends on who stays or who leaves. You realize that your worth has always been rooted within you. You no longer chase love, you attracted by being love. You no longer beg to be seen, you glow so brightly that you become impossible to ignore. And one day, those who couldn't value you will see you thriving and realize what they lost. But by then, you'll be too busy growing to care. That's the beauty of redefining your worth. It frees you. You no longer need apologies or explanations. You just need peace, purpose, and a version of yourself that finally feels whole. Evolve until you inspire. Evolution is not easy. It demands the death of the old you so that the new you can breathe. It's painful, uncomfortable, and uncertain. But that's how growth feels. It stretches you beyond your limits until you become unrecognizable even to yourself. You stop reacting the same way, you stop thinking the same way, and suddenly, you realize you've outgrown the very things that once broke you. That's evolution. It's the quiet miracle of transformation that happens when you refuse to give up. When you evolve, you begin to see the world differently. You stop chasing validation and you start chasing purpose. You no longer need to prove anything because your presence starts speaking for itself. People who once doubted you will start seeking your advice. The same pain that once made you crumble becomes the story that inspires others to rise. You realize your journey was never just about you, it was about showing others what healing looks like. Growth is contagious. When you evolve, you unconsciously give others permission to do the same. Your scars become stories, your wounds become wisdom, and your survival becomes a message of hope. You may never know whose life you're inspiring just by continuing to grow. That's why you must keep going, even when no one's clapping. Because the world doesn't need more perfect people, it needs more real ones who turn their pain into purpose. Evolution doesn't happen overnight, it's a daily decision. A decision to forgive when you'd rather hate, to rise when you'd rather rest, to keep walking when the path is unclear. Each small step forward, no matter how invisible it feels, is an act of courage. You don't have to be loud to make an impact, you just have to keep becoming. And then one day, you'll look back and see how far you've come. You'll remember the nights you thought you'd never survive and smile at the strength that carried you through. You'll realize that the person you are today is someone your past self once prayed to become. That realization is sacred. It's the reward for never giving up on yourself. You'll inspire, not because you were flawless, but because you were fearless. Not because you had it all figured out, but because you kept walking, even when everything inside you screamed to stop. That's what true evolution looks like. It turns your pain into power and your journey into inspiration. Let success be the apology. They obey you. You don't need revenge. You don't need to make anyone regret leaving you. What you need is peace, purpose, and progress. Let success be the apology they owe you. Let your glow be the reminder of what they lost. When you start working on yourself, not to prove them wrong, but to make yourself right, you reclaim your power. You realize that silence is louder than confrontation, and growth is greater than revenge. Success is not about money, fame, or applause. It's about healing so deeply that you no longer crave validation from those who couldn't value you. It's about waking up every morning with gratitude in your heart and peace in your mind. The greatest form of revenge is happiness that doesn't depend on anyone else. When you reach that level of peace, no one can touch you. You've already won. The truth is, people regret losing what they can no longer replace. But when you rise beyond their reach, you don't look down in bitterness, you look forward in grace. You start understanding that what they lost was never you. It was access to your energy, your kindness, your loyalty, your light. And those are things you now protect fiercely. Let your success be built on authenticity, not anger. Let it grow from purpose, not pain. Because when your success comes from a place of peace, it lasts. You're not chasing revenge, you're chasing rebirth. You're not proving them wrong, you're proving yourself right. That's the kind of success that changes lives, not just situations. And someday, when they look at your life and see how far you've come, they'll remember how they left and it will hurt. But for you, it won't matter anymore. You won't be the person they left behind. You'll be the person who grew beyond recognition. You'll be the one who found strength in solitude and peace in progress. That is your true victory, not their regret, but your rebirth. Because while they were busy forgetting you, you were busy finding yourself. And that version of you, the one who grew, healed, and glowed, is the most beautiful revenge life could ever give. In the end, growth is not about making anyone regret losing you. It's about becoming someone you never thought you could be. It's about turning your heartbreak into healing, your wounds into wisdom, and your silence into strength. When you focus on growth, you stop trying to rewrite the past and start designing your future. The pain that once made you feel small becomes the soil where your greatness blooms. You stop chasing explanations and start chasing elevation. Because real power is not in proving your worth to those who left, but in realizing you never lost it when they walked away. And one day, without bitterness or revenge, your life itself becomes the loudest answer to their absence. You'll be standing taller, glowing brighter, and living freer. You won't need them to apologize, because your peace will say it all. The same people who doubted your strength will look at you and see the masterpiece that pain created. So keep growing quietly, keep evolving patiently, and let your transformation speak louder than their regret ever could.